Hey, before we get started, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss stories like this. I never imagined a Friday night could feel like a trap. My name's Ethan. I'm 36, and for the past 5 years, my dating life had been fairly ordinary. Steady job, a quiet apartment in Chicago, weekends spent binge-watching shows or catching up with friends. Drama wasn't something I sought, and I never expected it to find me. So when Claire invited me out to dinner that evening, I had no suspicion at all. Claire was smart, stunning, and a little fiery, the exact combination that had drawn me to her from the start. I admired her confidence, the way she carried herself, the way she could laugh at anything yet still command attention effortlessly. Claire wasn't someone who slipped quietly into your life. She made her presence known. Even after months of dating, I gave her space. No pressure, no games, comfortable, predictable, normal. But that night, everything changed. When Claire greeted me at the restaurant, her usual warmth was there, but there was something else, a subtle smirk, a glint in her eyes I couldn't place. I shrugged it off, assuming she was just tired from work. Little did I know, I was walking straight into a carefully planned setup. We sat, ordered, made small talk, but the sparkle in her eyes had turned into a calculated calm. Then came the first sign. She leaned in, whispering something I didn't catch. I smiled, waiting for context. That's when I noticed her two friends across the table, pretending to sip wine, while silently sizing me up like predators. It hit me. This wasn't just dinner. This was a test. Claire spoke, casual yet tinged with amusement. "You know, Ethan, my friends think you need to know your place." Her words landed like stones thrown into still water. My pulse spiked, but I stayed composed. I wasn't naive. I'd seen subtle power plays before, but this was different. Not playful, not subtle. This was a deliberate attempt to make me feel small, to shift control away from me. Her friends chuckled, a mix of mockery and expectation, waiting for me to stumble. I met Claire's gaze. There was a flicker of challenge in her eyes. They expected panic, apologies, maybe even argument, or for me to fall into their scripted, submissive role. For a moment, I imagined standing up and walking out, leaving my plate untouched. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I leaned back, folded my hands, and offered a calm, measured smile. "You think I need to know my place?" I asked, my voice even almost teasing. "And what place would that be exactly?" The room went silent. Surprise flashed across her friends' faces. Confusion, embarrassment, defensiveness. They hadn't expected calm, confident pushback. Claire tilted her head, trying to stay composed, but I noticed tension in her jaw, a slight tremor as she reached for her wine glass. I didn't raise my voice. I let my words linger, heavy and deliberate. The evening unfolded slowly. Subtle digs, sarcastic remarks, little jabs. They tried everything. Each time, I responded calmly, deliberately, never rising to bait. By the time dessert arrived, I realized something crucial. They had underestimated me. They expected a reaction. But I was here to play only my game. I noticed Claire's shift, the tightness in her shoulders, the wavering confidence in her smile. The dynamic had changed, not because I yelled, not because I created drama, but because I refused to participate in theirs. By the time we left the restaurant, I knew 3 things. 1, Claire and her friends had tried to manipulate me. 2, I wasn't going to let them. 3, whatever came next, I would handle it on my terms, quietly, confidently, in control. The next day, Claire didn't reach out immediately, which was unusual. Normally, she'd text or call within hours, teasing or joking about the night before. But there was nothing. Silence. I didn't panic. I didn't chase. I stayed calm, letting things unfold naturally. Late afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was Claire. She sounded different, hurried, almost breathless. "Ethan, can you come over?" I need to talk." Her tone was unfamiliar. Tension radiated through the line. I didn't rush. I replied calmly, "Sure, I'll be there in 20 minutes." Steady, controlled. No panic, no over-explaining. At her apartment, Claire opened the door, Messy hair, wide eyes, her usual spark gone. Behind her, her friends peeked down the hallway, unsure, waiting for a meltdown that never came. She stepped aside. We need to talk alone. We sat in the living room. Silence stretched, not tense, not awkward, just a quiet space ready for honesty. She spoke first. Last night, I didn't expect you to handle it like that, she admitted, voice shaky. I thought you'd react like other guys. I nodded neutral, watching her fidget with the couch cushion. And you didn't. You stayed calm. You didn't argue. You didn't beg. I didn't expect that. I thought you'd fold. And I don't know. It threw me off. I leaned back, composed. I wasn't playing a game. I was just me. I won't let anyone make me feel small or out of control. That's not how I operate. Her eyes showed surprise, frustration, maybe regret. She looked for an answer. There wasn't one to give. I had set my boundaries the night before. Now she was seeing the results. You didn't even react when they tried to embarrass me, she said, almost in disbelief. Most men would have yelled, gotten defensive, but you didn't. It wasn't my fight. I said, it wasn't about me. They were trying to prove something. I don't prove anything to anyone but myself. Her voice softened. I overstepped. My friend shouldn't have tried to control things. I interrupted gently. And you shouldn't have tested me like that. But we can talk calmly, honestly. No games. Claire looked down, ashamed, then back at me. I didn't know how else to handle it. I thought maybe it would make me do what? I asked carefully. Show that I could control you, she admitted almost in a whisper. I paused, letting it sink in, then leaned forward slightly. That will never happen, Claire. Not now, not ever. I respect myself too much for that. She nodded slowly, finally understanding. Relief flickered in her eyes for the first time in 24 hours. She had tried to manipulate me, but I hadn't allowed it. In that quiet, calm victory, the dynamic between us shifted. We spent the next hour talking. No arguing. No blaming. Just honest conversation. She apologized for the setup. Her friends apologized later via text. We clarified expectations and boundaries. For the first time, it wasn't about power or control. It was about trust, respect, and honesty. When I left, I felt a rare peace. Not triumph over Claire, not superiority, but clarity. I had faced a situation designed to undermine me and stayed steady, calm, controlled, true to myself. Driving home that night, I realized something vital. Respect isn't demanded. It isn't given blindly. It's earned, mutual, and maintained through quiet strength, not theatrics. Whatever happens next, I know who I am, what I stand for, and I will never let anyone manipulate my worth again. Sometimes the greatest victories are silent. No applause, no cheers, just a deep, unshakable certainty that you've won. That night, that quiet, measured triumph was more satisfying than any loud argument or dramatic confrontation ever could be.